Awesome day, everyone. Welcome to my podcast, Empath to Success. This space is a space where we talk about all the different kinds of emotions, whether they're good, they're bad, they're useful, they're useless sometimes, resourceful or unresourceful. So we're just going to talk about that. This is the safe space to talk about that. And in today's podcast, I am so excited because I have with me, beside me, my teacher, my mentor. She is a trainer. She studies human being and she has worked with so many human beings in the last many years. And she is here with me, the co-founder of Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Please welcome on the set, Judith DeLozier.
Oh, you're awesome. You're awesome. And I'm emotional now. I'm feeling some emotion about this. And that emotion is a kind of excitement and curiosity because I have no idea what's going to happen.
It's fun, right? Surprise.
It is fun.
Surprise is a fun emotion, right? It adds into anything. So
life
surprise.
doesn't bring us quite enough surprises in the positive packages. Yeah,
yes,
a lot of surprises sometimes in the other packages. Yeah.
So I am very, very curious because you studied people, right? Emotional intelligence, mindset, beliefs. Let's talk about emotions first.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel good about that.
Oh, wonderful. Now, I am very curious. What are the most difficult emotions to hold?
The most difficult emotions to hold for me, I believe, are the edges of the spectrum.
Edges.
Yeah, the edges meaning on the one end, when somebody's crazy angry or is crazy depressed.
Okay.
I think it's the amplification of those edges, that I find harder. The one, sort of that range in between. They're softer or they're not quite as strongly held or as what would you say, kind of so normal for the person. It's kind of a default. They go there. It's gotten them good things in their lives somehow, or got them outcomes. I think those are the ones that I find are those extreme edges.
Any particular emotion, for example, anger.
Anger. I think anger.
So tell me more about anger. I mean, what are the triggers of anger?
Well, I think there's all kinds of things that trigger anger in people. If you don't agree with them, for example, and they think they have the right map, they need to be right, and it's their way or the highway, and if people don't comply in a certain way, then their default is to be angry with that person. There's something wrong with that person, to blame that person, Yeah.
So when someone goes at the edge, for example, like crazy angry, okay, what are the things? I mean, what are the behaviors? How are these behaviors expressed?
Well, they're explosive first off. They're they're kind of, it comes out like a bullet. It comes out like an arrow.
Ouch!
Exactly. Okay. And that's exactly how people experience. It's like taking something and compressing it, and then when it comes out, it comes out so expressive.
So something like
overwhelming,
it's being repressed.
Yeah.
So maybe, Judith, it starts out as a small anger.
Yeah,
maybe,
I'm a little irritated.
Okay.
I'm a little irritated. I don't do anything about it.
And then how does it become explosive and it goes to the edge? Like
I think
angry?
it's because people suppress it. It builds, it builds. And then when it comes out, it just comes out like a huge wave of destruction.
And it's interesting, right? Because I've been studying about the unconscious mind, right? And there are markers in our unconscious mind that tells us, hey, you're angry, but you have to actually just park that anger for a while.
Yeah.
Because you have to do something. You need it to be more productive.
Well, I don't have permission. It's inappropriate.
Correct,
I don't give myself permission. The system doesn't give me permission to.
So you take in that anger.
And
and the unconscious mind remembers that until you just explode.
Well, and when you think about it, it says if I keep putting it away, it's a signal. It's trying to communicate with me from the very moment where it says I'm a little irritated, right? Or I'm a little bit pushed. That's the signal. But I don't respect the signal. I don't have permission with the signal. The system won't let me do it. My system says, no, you're not allowed to do that. It's inappropriate, not ecological, whatever. Eventually the signal says, hey, you're going to pay attention to me, whether you like it or not. You're going to hear me and see me because I'm coming.
So this is a situation where now the emotions are, controlling us.
Well, they're overwhelming us. It's like it's taken me. I think of emotions as archetypic energies that move through me. every human being has those energies move through them, whether it's happiness or joy or sadness or anger or frustration or irritation, whatever those are. They are moving through me for a reason, and that's to wake me up to something.
Okay.
It's trying to get my attention. This is something to do here. There's something that I need to respond here. Some potential's being called out of me, and I don't respect the signal gets louder.
Correct.
It's just like, I hurt myself, right?
So it is very important to pay attention to our emotions, to have a lot of
Absolutely.
emotional awareness, for example. And a lot of people, I mean, even our leaders, right, are not very aware
Oh
of
my
their
God.
emotions.
Or they're so emotional, they're like 5-year-old kids
Correct.
in a schoolyard, which you would say that's not acceptable behavior. Let's help you learn how to manage
Okay.
and direct your energy in a positive way. Nothing wrong with the emotion, but people don't know how to direct it. They don't know how to play with it.
And maybe
don't know
they're
how
not
to-
aware that they are having that emotion, right? I mean, we talk about systems, Judith,
Interesting,
right?
yeah.
You mentioned that there are systems that don't allow us, for example, to vent.
Yeah.
And we're respectful to the system,
Yeah,
right? We have
yeah.
to behave. There
Yeah.
are rules, of engagement.
Rule of behaviors.
Correct. So let's take, for example, a particular system like a business system, and when I'm angry, like I'm the leader of the company, or I'm angry with the people, they were not behaving or something, or not meeting the quota, for example, target. Is there a place in the business place where you're allowed to vent, to lash?
Well, I think you need some place where you can learn to be able to bring whatever the message is. I mean, the venting is an expression of the emotion, but the emotion has some message underneath there.
Okay.
If I can bring that message, if I have permission to bring that message. When you said that, somehow Steve Jobs appeared. Steve Jobs could get really angry. He could get really angry, and people would say, oh my God, he was hard to work for.
Correct.
But there was somehow permission there. And he created a culture where people liked the culture. They liked being in that culture. So somehow there was permission somehow in that system. And I go, why do I have to vent? Well, because I don't have an opportunity before I get to the vent stage to share something that might be relevant.
So there are certain cultures, for example, in business that allow more emotions to be
absolutely
expressed, and there are systems or cultures that that try and restrain the emotion, right? And I think there are also differences in terms of, like, Asian cultures, for example, and Western cultures. Like in Asia, for example, we are very much so much more conservative with our emotions, right? We try as much as possible not to be transparent about it, but then these emotions, they leak, right? They're going to show up everywhere.
There's emotional leakage everywhere. And you see, if I'm doing a training in something that's more personally oriented, my own personal growth, when those emotion comes, I mean, they are huge when they finally come.
Okay.
Yeah. When they do come, they are really, really big, really, really, a lot of depth and a lot of breadth and a lot of tears and a lot of hardly being able to breathe through the sobbing. So when they do come, they're really, really big.
All right.
Because there's not a room for that.
What you're saying is, if maybe systems allow the small emotions like irritations or minor annoyances to be expressed, then there it won't spiral into the huge anger, for example.
That's my kind of personal thinking around it, is that if I have any behavior, that you talked about this kind of relationship between the conscious and the unconscious. There's this thing that people have called Tourette's, right? And they can't control these things that are coming out of them, right? And, I go, okay, there's an expression, there's a behavior, there's an expression of that behavior. Let's find the appropriate context for it first, or can I play with that behavior and go, can I do the same thing but not out loud? Can I say it under my breath if I don't have control? Okay, well, I can soften it. I can say it under my breath. Oh, I can go into the garage, as Milton Erickson would say, and I can turn up the car radio and I can really let her rip, But the thing is underneath what I'm learning is how to have control of that myself.
Right.
That's the underlying learning.
You mentioned something about context, right?
Yeah.
So there are certain contexts, for example, when anger is permitted. I mean, like, I'm so angry. I'm so angry because we're not meeting our targets, for example. I mean, something that could be resourceful, right? Because out of that anger, passion can come out of that,
anger.
right?
I mean, anger is what do you call it? It's an expression of something. It's trying to call my attention to something. So it's energy. You know, the way I think about it is it's all representation of different energies that move through me. If I take that energy and I use it to motivate me,
right,
that's different than just standing in anger and being angry.
Yeah, which brings me to, I've always said this, that there are no bad or there are no good emotions, just useful emotions and useless emotions. So in a particular context, for example, anger is not useful. We are polite and respectful to the ecology, right? To the community, to other people. And we just restrain that anger and maybe go back home and start to actually respect that anger and tame the anger. I mean, is that a right?
Well, I like the way you're saying that. It isn't about them being good or bad. They have complementarity. I can't know one without the other. I can't know anger without a sense of peace, right? Or a sense of equanimity. I can't know joy without sadness because we live in a binary world. And there's a complementarity of all of it. I can't know good without bad. I can't know light without darkness. Everything is binary in our thinking. This is what I call the fall from the Garden of Eden.
Okay.
When it says, don't eat of the tree or the fruit of good and evil, right? It says, don't go to a binary world, because if we go to a binary world, we start to split. We start to fractionate in our thinking. So there's always that complementarity. I can't know my anger without something else. I can't know my happiness without something else.
It's our yin and yang, right?
Yes.
We could never know what joy is until we have experienced sadness. And
exactly.
maybe,
Exactly. So if I'm thinking in a binary world, then I go, both are just true. You know, anger's true, joy is true. They're just both true.
Right.
And then I go, can I act mindfully with that knowledge, or do I act mindlessly with that knowledge?
But what if there are, I mean, we are not going to talk about specific, people, but there are people, right, who are leading huge organizations, huge nations, right, who are probably not aware that there are certain useless emotions. How do we deal with this when we are expected to follow them?
Well, I think there's a lot of lack of emotional intelligence in the world.
Okay,
that's how I would say it.
A lack of emotional intelligence in the world.
In the world, there's a lot of people that I watch the way they interact. They're adult human beings, and they're acting like an immature child who hasn't learned yet how to manage or how to be mindful of their emotions. And so, we get trained a lot in the intellect, and we get trained in, with using our body. If we understand there's another conversation going on called the analog conversation, as well as the verbal conversation. But people have not traditionally, at least in my world, been trained to have emotional intelligence. Some of us learn it through our families, or, it's just part of our familial upbringing, or, our educational upbringing in some way, or like you and me, we're, neuroscientists, we're really curious about this amazing energy that, informs human beings. But, there are great leaders in the world who live in one, and it kind of creates a lot of chaos.
So what do we do? I mean, as if we are in a country,
we slap them down. No,
we do that.
No, we don't do that. But,
okay, but I like what you said when somebody we just did a workshop prior to this, and when somebody in the workshop asked about that, and you said that that person or that leader has a problem, but I am okay and you're okay, and at the end of the day, we control ourselves. That's the only thing we can have control over.
I don't know. I mean, I think it takes a system around them, because many of these great leaders have a posse. They have a group around them that protects them, that decides what information is allowed to touch them and what's not, and they feed the demon.
Okay.
And it's, if we had our way, we would say part of ongoing leadership development is emotional intelligence training, or is how to be resilient, and how to take responsibility for our own energies, whether they be anger, whether it be joy, that it's something that's coming through us. It has a message. It's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's just a thing. But how to use that in an appropriate manner.
Yeah. How I wish some of the leaders can have your emotional intelligence training, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know other than they're part of the chaos, and in any system, there's always some chaos, and chaos keeps us learning, keeps us bringing potential out. He calls it out of us.
Chaos.
And I think we appreciate chaos in balance.
Okay.
Because we know we're learning. And life would be boring without a little shaking up from time to time.
When life is just, just a straight line, it's just going to make us very ordinary people, right? And we want to be extraordinary, I think. I mean, we're meant to be extraordinary, right? And our feelings are our resources, no? Part of that is
absolutely,
to be able to nurture,
absolutely,
tame the useless ones, and nourish more the ones that feed us.
Yeah.
Which brings me then to my next question, Judith. A lot of times we do happiness by subtraction, which means I will be happy
if that not this. I
will be happy. I subtract my fear. I subtract my anger, then I'll be happy. But we wanted happiness by addition, right? I mean, what are the emotions that we need to add more in our life? The good ones.
Well, I had a man ask me. I think it was on a Zoom kind of training, and it's that idea of going, what I don't want. This is what I don't want in my life. I don't want more angst. I don't want more, worry. I don't want more frustration. I go, super. What do you want? I don't want to know what you don't want. I want to know what do you want.
And sometimes we don't know what we want.
And sometimes people don't know. And I love it when they don't know, because I go, then you can guess.
Okay.
And then you have the opportunity to guess, and you can lie to me, and it's totally fine. But you have to sort of move that thinking to, this is what I don't want, to put it in the positive. This is NLP frame. I stated in the positive. And I remember that guy, he goes, I want to have less worry. And I go, well, if there was less of that, what would there be more of? And he goes, got it.
Yeah. and that's a harder question, because we know what we don't want, but sometimes we don't know what we want.
Well, right? That's the thing. If I got to move my attention now, even if I can't get to that answer right away, I go, make it up. Just take a guess.
Yeah.
Or what's the complementarity? What is the opposite of it? Just go to the opposite for a moment and go, is this even touching the space of possibility of what you want?
Right.
What's the opposite?
So I don't want sadness, but I want joy.
Yeah. So I go, I don't want sadness. This is what I don't want. I don't want grief. I don't want sadness. And I might say, well, sadness is about releasing something. So what would be there if you didn't have that? I don't know. And I go, so what is the opposite of sadness? Just feel, check out that space a little bit. What's just the opposite? Well, it's a little bit more joyful. Well, has that ever happened to you in your life? Well, yeah. So
but
what's
that's actually
happening?
An interesting question, right? Like, what do you want more of your life? Because I find, for example, that anxiety, which is like a really bothersome, emotion, is really caused because we do not know what we want, and we're afraid of the future, right?
Yeah.
That's causing us a lot of anxiety and a lot of worry.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to tell somebody who is in that state to stop worrying.
Well, I think you don't tell them in that state. You don't tell a person to stop doing what they're doing unless the behaviors are bad behaviors, right?
Okay.
I mean,
so you stop the behavior, but
I would go, come on, if it's a kids and they're fighting on the play yard, I'm not going to accept that behavior, right?
Okay.
But I go, let's learn to go, what happened here? Let's learn, understand it a little better. That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly accept people's emotions, but I don't accept hurting other people or hurting themselves.
Mm-hmm.
No, I would go, no, that's we don't want to do that. So
the emotions are okay, but there are certain bad behaviors.
Well, there are behaviors that are destructive.
Right, okay.
And that person will continue to create more and more destruction if they don't have a way to take that energy and do something positive.
But what if they don't have options? What if they don't know what to do?
Well, then that's where we train them.
Okay. More options, more possibilities, right?
Yeah. Yeah, more options, more possibilities. So, when somebody goes, I'm afraid of the future, I go, let's let's look at how you're creating the fear. But when they're fearful, they're not open to hearing that. They're not open to sensing that. I just need to hold them. I just need to hold the space with them a little bit and go, I see you, little sister, or little brother in that fear. But also, I also know we create the future. And so this is a moment to go, I don't know the future, but if I were going to create one, if I were going to create a compelling future, let's draw a picture of what that might look like. Yeah.
Compelling future. I like that.
Yeah.
I like how it sounds.
Yeah.
It's not just a simple future, it's a compelling future. It pulls me to that future.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, what that means is that I don't know the future. None of us can guess the future. None of us could have guessed that COVID was coming. Nobody could have guessed that, a certain kind of leader would emerge that, was not so useful for the world, and cause a lot of chaos. Nobody can predict that. Nobody can predict the future. So we create our own scenarios of possibility, and then we act as if they're true in the world when they may or may not be. It's a little bit like jealousy, right?
Right.
I create this thought or these images and these sounds of this person doing these things, whether in reality they're doing them or not, and then I act as if they're actually true, right? So when I say compelling future, it's like I create my future. And otherwise, I'm letting somebody else create it for me. And if I'm going to let somebody else create it for me, then good luck.
Correct. So you have, it's very clear in your mind where you want to go. That is compelling future. And then you create it. You own it. You bring the energy of that future to your present as if you are living that future.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
You're creating it. What I'm saying is people feel hopeless. And that's where anxiety comes from. Hopeless, helpless. For me, when I think about it, you may think about it differently. So I go, look, there's that idea, as Buddha would say, of worldly hope. And when I create that future, I can't make it so tight that I can't meet the expectation because it's so tight.
So it has to be.
I have to have a softness about it. I have to have a softness about it.
Okay.
Because life's going to happen that's going to inform that on the way.
Okay.
So he talks about why is hope? Hope still inspires me. Hope still motivates me. It still pulls me to have that hope. But wise hope is going to have a softness about it so that it's not so tight that it's not a strategy for defeated expectations. There's a strategy for disappointment, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
When you make something soft, right? Did you mean to say, for example, that do not define it with very specific terms so that you don't disappoint yourself?
Yeah.
So let's say, for example,
like I'm going to meet a boyfriend, but I want a boyfriend, but he has to be 6'2". He has to have blue eyes. He has to have good muscular.
Yes.
He has to wear certain kinds of shirt. I'm making it so tight that all these beautiful people come by and I go, not you, not you, not you.
Okay, this is a podcast that a lot of my, teammates in the office would want to
we
hear.
We all know this. We all know this.
Okay.
We're people.
So it should just be, I just want somebody who's
I want somebody
kind
good. I want somebody kind. I want somebody who will be a good partner.
Okay.
A good father,
So then you get to see more people.
So much more.
I mean, for all you know, your future, other partner is already walking by you, but you don't get.
You don't even notice because they don't meet, because I'm living in the expectation, not in life.
Is it the same for wealth? Like, I wanted to be rich. I wanted to have this house. I wanted to have this house by the resort or something. Should I really just make it generic? For example, I just want a house.
It would be nice to just have a roof over my head. I don't know what that's going to look like.
Oh, leave some for
space.
That is very interesting, right? Because a lot of times when we do, for example, even in our sales, when we do sales rallies and inspire and try and rally the salespeople to get their targets and then, tell them, what does your success look like, and be as specific as possible.
Yeah.
Even for a personal success, for example, I want to drive this kind of car. You're saying now that's too tight. A compelling future.
It can be. It can create stress because now I've created this expectation. If I don't meet it, the stress builds even more. Now I'm a failure.
Oh, so what if I just, if I want to have a particular job, right? So I'll just say, I just want a job that, pays me well. And then I just allow the future to unfold.
Well, I can say, here are my special gifts. Here are my special skills.
Mhm.
What are all the places? What are all the spaces where that might be? I could use those.
Okay,
I
then
could
you
use those.
identify that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be tight, like,
It doesn't have to be, I'm going to work for General Motors and I'm going to be in this
Oh,
position. And that, and if I don't do that, my life has been wasted.
that is such a wise insight, Judith. I mean,
I'm
I could-
old. We get wiser.
Yes,
Hopefully.
I mean, I
Some
wanna,
of us do anyway.
I want to walk with you, but you're walking faster, and I want to, I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that I'm walking with you and I'm catching all of these,
Aw.
insights that you're trying
Aw.
to just, throw out to the world. I only have two hands.
But you got 2 feet and a
2
big
feet
heart to catch
and a big
it in.
heart. Yes, yes, and it's still growing. I love this conversation. I think I'm gonna take that with me. Try
Cool.
to not make your compelling future too tight that you actually invite disappointment.
I mean, I
Right.
got to exactly. I mean, that's how I feel about it. So, I go, oh, I learned some special skills. Let's say Judy knows NLP, and she spent time investing in learning some skills. But do I have to be an NLP trainer? Could I be a coach? Could I work with artists? Could I, what is the range? Maybe I like to bring those skills into the health. Maybe I'd like to bring them into
Right.
the arts. Maybe I'd like to bring them into success factor modeling. Maybe I'd like to bring them into leadership. Maybe that I go, I have not a tight goal, but I have a softer intention so that I'm more open to finding the right guy or the right
Wow.
gal, right?
Yes,
the right
house,
space
the
for
right
me.
job, softer
Yeah.
intention.
Yeah.
Not to be too intense about
Yeah.
it. And the more you are intense,
Yeah, the more
the more
intense,
it goes away from you, right?
Yes, and the more stress I put in the
Yes.
system, the more blind I get to the opportunity.
I guess that's a very interesting hack that we could probably share to the young ones who are very anxious about jobs, for example, or they're getting older and their life needs to get somewhere, and there's a lot of anxiety there. To just soften your intention
Yeah,
and know your gifts. And
yeah.
begin
Know your
there,
gifts.
and
Know your
begin there.
superpowers.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, there was something that was kind of coming there as you were saying that. I mean, I guess one of the things I love about the Alpha Gen Z, as you were
Mhm.
talking about, is I understand the in a way what they're saying. I don't want to be a leader. I don't want your job. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is they go, I'm more interested in collaboration. I am more interested in the field connection.
So it's not the job, but we are defining it as a
We-
job.
Yeah.
Instead, they're more interested in,
What is that field
the
of
gift.
connection and who I can become in that
Correct.
space?
and probably
I
the
think.
job
I mean,
has
maybe
not
I've
been created yet.
yes.
Right? I mean, they
yeah,
have their own unique strengths, unique gifts. They know what
yeah.
they could, but
Yeah.
they don't know the field. They don't know the system or the
No.
space where they could.
And the generative collaborative effort that they envision.
So what's our role? What's our role here right now? I mean, as we pass on the world to the future generation.
I think to be models of something different, to be models of something closer. I mean, in my work, there were ideas, there were always implicit, but not explicit, right? The idea of this connectedness was implicit through relationship. For me to step into your shoes, or for me to look at relationship from the outside and go, what are the qualities there that are really beautiful, or what are the qualities there that we're stepping on each other's toes? And then in this generation, it really is about who are we as a field? Who are we becoming? And who can I become with the we? I think that's more where these younger generations are going.
Right.
This generative collaborative world of a field together. Who are we becoming as humanity? I ask myself all the time.
Yeah, and I think you're saying a very good point that we have to be more flexible, more open,
Yeah.
Instead of resist the energy of the young
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't understand.
Oh
everything.
yeah, I love the way my friends think about this. When I danced ballet, I danced African dance, I danced flamenco, and they had different feelings. Ballet was like my personal discipline. African dance was in my social dance. It's social. And I remember my son was about 16, 15, 16, really all that energy really starting to, come out in puberty and everything. And he would come up with his buddies. Then they were members of the Congolese National Ballet, and they would come up into the mountains to visit. And my son Eric would be there with all his buddies, and he would not. My African friends, would not come into the house to visit me. They would just go and just hang with the guys. And I asked my friend Titos one day. I said, Tito, so that's so curious for me, because it is the most beautiful and the most powerful creative energy on earth. And yes, 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 I want to be around it.
Wow.
And that's a good lesson.
Yes, wow,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
I love that
Are
story.
they going to express in the world the way I did? No, they're going to do it their unique way.
Mhm.
And God love them for that, right?
And we honor that. I mean,
Yeah.
we welcome as much creative energy as we can,
Yeah.
and try to with our own gifts just expand
It. Yeah.
Expand.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes.
Yeah.
I have one last question.
Yeah.
Okay. I look at you, right? You are full of energy. You're full of serenity. You are so congruent.
Thank
The
you.
thoughts, the emotions, the behavior. How can I reproduce your excellence? How can I be more like you?
Well, this is the beauty of NLP and success factor modeling, right? So, what is it that you see in me that you would like more of?
Mm-hmm.
You can ask me questions. You can step into my shoes and go, well, if I had more of that, and don't want to be Judy
Mm-hmm.
because you're uniquely Charity, but you go, if I had more serenity, if I had more this, more that, how would I see the world differently? How would I hear the world differently? What would be the added enrichment?
So we could actually copy, right? And paste into our...
Yeah, it's not copy it so much, but go, you are a mirror for me to find something in me that I know is there. I'm just using that as a mirror to go, I choose that aspect of Judy, or I choose that aspect, Sherry's amazing energy in the group. I go, I want more of that. I know I have it in me as a human being. It's potential that's there.
Mm-hmm.
I probably have it somewhere, but in a certain context. It's not about copying or aping, as we say, right? But it's about going, now I have put a filter on. That's something I would like to have more awareness of. She's showing me this aspect. And so now I can put my attention there. I can step into the shoes and go, where do I find that in me? What would happen when I find that? And then I can bring it through me to the outside world, expand it, deepen it. Yeah.
Right. And you go back to awareness.
And
right?
back to awareness. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
It all starts with awareness for me.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Judith.
Oh.
There are just so many things I wanted to ask you.
Well,
time is short.
It's so much fun, but we have all the time in the world.
Yes,
there will be other opportunities.
And
you know what? You rock.
Oh, you rock.
No, you rock. You rock. You rock. We all rock.
Yes. Thank you so
you.
much again. I mean, how many times do you get to meet your heroes, right?
Oh.
Thank you so much for blessing this space with your wisdom. I will take on one of the biggest things I've taken from this, which is to soften my
Just
intention.
soften. Yeah.
Just soften.
You'll
my
get
intention.
there. You get there.
Yes,
if you make it too tight, you miss the opportunities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, everybody. This is Cherry Africa, and this has been Empath to Success. And if you liked what you just watched, please subscribe and like this podcast.
Yes.
And we promise to bring you so many extraordinary people in the field of,
Whatever.
humanity.
Field of life.
Yes.
Humanity.
The field of life. Thank you so much, and see you again.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you.